If you're struggling to sell more of your product or service, people aren't buying or taking the next steps in working with your business, and you're not really sure why, but you want to solve it for good, then you've landed on the right video, because I guarantee you just one of these roadblocks that can be solved very simply is probably what's holding your business back from the success it deserves. Plus, at the very end of the video, there's even going to be a little bonus cheat sheet to make this process even more powerful. What you'll need to understand is that as we go across the spectrum, there's going to be more people when we begin, and there's going to be far less than when we end. And basically, these are the least qualified, and these are the most qualified over here. And the reason this matters is because you'll end up happening is the people that you're interacting with are typically in buckets. It doesn't matter if this is a product, it doesn't matter if this is a service, and it doesn't matter if it's high or low ticket, physical or digital. Because what you'll find is that even if you're buying a cup of coffee, this person might come in every single day, this person might come in once a week, this person might just be taking their first sip from the first cup of many. But we need to solve the problem of getting people from here to here. Let me show you how we're going to do this. When you begin, the first obstacle you need to encounter is that, do people actually know about you? And not only that, do they know what your thing is? And these are the most common things I see with any business. Do people know, A, you exist, and B, what it is? Because these are two very core problems that if you do not solve these sequentially, then unfortunately most of this will never happen. A lot of this is just statistical anomaly, it's guesswork. They might knock on your door and buy your thing. Because once you understand that you're not trying to wait for people to come to you, you need to be proactive about going to find people to buy your stuff. And the only way to do that is to let them know you exist. A lot of businesses simply are not talking about their stuff enough, be it marketing, be it networking, be it affiliate marketing, influencers, whatever flavor of spreading the word that you need to do. And then they wonder why people aren't buying, but simply put, it's proportional. The more people that know about your stuff, the more likely that there are more people who are going to buy it. Seems relatively simple, yet if you're not doing anything like posting content, running ads, putting up flyers, knocking on doors, anything just to get the word out there, then you cannot expect long-term results. The second one, and this is a very understated one, but I think is extremely important, is do they even know what this thing is? More often than not, I'll give you an example. I was just talking to a coffee shop owner as an example of the knowledge gap that most of his customer base experiences. A lot of them really like coming into the store. A lot of them really like the cup of coffee that they enjoy. A lot of them like the atmosphere, all that stuff, but he wants to sell them on the next thing, which is going to be a box of beans. And unfortunately, the knowledge gap is that most people who come into a coffee shop simply do not know how they can use those beans. I would wager to say that most of his customers, they don't have a grinder, they don't have a drip coffee, they don't have a French press, they don't have anything to make coffee at home. So therefore they go there. So it is his goal to educate them on what this thing is and why it matters. And this leads us into two natural ways to easily increase your sales. The first one is simply put, tell more people. And this one can seem a little bit obvious at face value, but I guarantee you, you're simply not telling enough people about your stuff. If you only do 2 cold calls a month, then you can't really expect a lot of results. If you only run 1 ad every year, then you're not going to be able to get the results you want. If you just sit and wait for people to buy your stuff, they are not going to show up randomly 99% of the time. So tell more people about your stuff and do it in a way that's strategic as well. If you look at this backwards, instead of saying, all right, well, what platform has the most amount of people that I can run my ad towards? Instead, focus on, hey, who needs my stuff the most? Where does that person hang out and what do they want to hear? So 3 ways to augment this. 1, where do these people hang out? 2, what do they want to hear? And 3, how can I reach them? I put how to reach. So if they're hanging out on Facebook and they want to hear an offer that something is for a limited time only, 15% off, plus all these bonus perks, and you can reach them most effectively because they're scrolling them in their feed, it's probably time to run Facebook ads. But then also you might find that your demographic hangs out on LinkedIn. You might find that they hang out on YouTube. You might find that they're physically going to a convention somewhere. Figure out where they hang out, what they want to hear, and once you're in that space, how to reach them appropriately. The second thing that you're going to want to do is just more education. I can't tell you how many times people overcomplicate the sales process when a lot of what you're doing at the very beginning is just education. Education naturally turns into trust. When the people you want to buy your stuff understand what it is, why it matters, how it works, the more they become educated, the more they can make informed decisions, and everybody wins. Because you don't have to pitch them something, you don't have to overpromise, you don't have to sell something that they want, you give them something that they need. Again, good sales is not just about broadcasting your message to more people, it's about creating more value. So when it comes to education, speak their language, create value above all else, and give options. Those are the 3 methods you can use at the very beginning to just get more people to know about your stuff. I guarantee you right now that you know stuff that they don't know. And if you were to stand in front of an iPhone and just talk about your stuff on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, on whatever platform, and just talk about it, educate people, you would get customers, you would get leads, you would get people who want to buy your stuff. All you have to do is educate them. And so many people don't understand the power in just doing that for their customer base. Now, to recap, what we want to do is to get more people to know about our stuff. The more people that know about it, the more people will ultimately buy. And we can do this in 2 ways. Simply put, tell more people about your stuff, ads, content, flyers, networking. Go out there, talk about your thing. You can't wait for them to come to you. 2, more education, more value, more opportunities for them to understand why your thing matters. If you use this technique within your sales process, I guarantee you that they will thank you, because you're not trying to pitch them on something that's grandiose. You're literally just telling them, here's what it is, here's how it works, which option would you like to take to solve this problem? It is, again, ultimately not just about selling something that people may want, convincing them that they want it. It's about giving them what they need. Now let's move on to trust. This one is often one that is severely misunderstood, because guess what? Just like people buy from people they know, people buy from people that they trust. And the biggest things are, why should I trust you? Well, there's a few things you can do to reduce that risk and increase that trust. The first one is social proof. Do you have testimonials? Do you have Google reviews? Do you have other people who have gone through this process? The second one is, do you have any sort of offer that mitigates that risk? Do you have a guarantee? Do you have a time frame? Do you have a structure of what this looks like? Especially, even a very simple way to fix this one is to just segment this into portions. A lot of the times people just want to know what the heck is going on. There's a $1 trillion company you might have heard of, Amazon, that actually does this process. When they first started out as an e-commerce business, and then Bezos was just selling books out of his house, he was like hand packing them, shipping them. People didn't know what was going on. Yet now you notice there's so many little small things that contribute to you buying on Amazon. And what's crazy is this portion here, we typically call this demystification, but you can just say break it down, basically. This is one of my favorite ones because you don't really need to add anything extra. You just need to talk about how it works, what it looks like. And when it comes down to Amazon, there's a reason that whenever they ship the package, they say, your package has been shipped. Here's how long it's going to take to get to you. Your package is out for delivery. It's on a truck. It's 5 stops away. It's at your house. Here's a picture of it at your front door. All of those are presumably 5 extra minutes of the carrier whipping out his phone, taking a picture of it, the GPS tracking of where the truck is. They put all of this money just so you feel like, yeah, I can trust Amazon because every time that Prime badge is there, I know I'm going to get it in the time that's there. It only takes 99% of the time for that to work. So that is really what matters. A lot of businesses are just simply not talking about what it is, how it works. They do not have any proof of the thing. If you don't have proof, then build a better offer or even just slap a guarantee in there as long as you can deliver on the results. And ultimately, the easiest way to do this is to just break it down. Tell me how your things work. Tell me, okay, what happens after step 1? What happens after step 2? What happens after step 3? This is the reason, especially when you go to sites and you buy online, when people were doing this in the early 2000s and they were kind of skeptical about putting their credit card into a website, that nowadays you have the complete opposite where you see reviews and AI summaries and pictures of people buying the product and 15-day money-back guarantees and all these little tidbits that you could potentially add to your actual listing. Focus on these right now. The other things that you're going to want to do, here's your checklist on how to start this, is get more proof. So if you have, and I'd actually even add another one to this, get more proof and data. If you have people who have already bought your thing, go out there and give them something in return. And not just to incentivize the review, but make it worth their time. Make it so easy that they'd have to do it. If that means driving out to the last 10 clients or the last 10 customers who bought your stuff's house just to get a video testimonial, just to get a Google, Yelp, Facebook review, give them a t-shirt, give them a gift card, give them something to make it worth their time. Get more proof. You'd be surprised whenever you open up Apple or Google Maps and you say, like, what's the best Chinese restaurant? And you see the local one down the street has 10 reviews and a 4.4 star rating, but you see another one that has 1,500 star ratings and it's a 4.3. You're going to go with the one that just simply has more proof. If you don't have proof, you can at least get more data, and you can take that data and put it back into your offer. And you can also take that data by interviewing your customers, and then when you do refine the thing, you can put them on the wait list, and now you have pre-qualified leads and customers who, when you do improve it to get more proof, you actually can just skip the process of trying to find new people to buy it and get those people who you said, hey, what do you think if I launch this thing? Well, at the end of it, just ask them, would you like to be on the wait list when I launch this? Service those customers, rinse and repeat this process. Second thing that you're going to want to do is just start to fix your offer. Again, your offer really needs to be a huge component of this. You can also fix your niche as well to build more trust. So you'd be surprised if you ran an ad that said, hey, I offer lead generation for businesses, to turning into, hey, I offer lead generation for dental offices, to, hey, I offer lead generation to dental offices making over $250,000 a year located in the New York area. You're probably not going to change the service fundamentally, but just by fixing the offer of who needs it and the niche of where they are or what these people or what these attributes are, you instantly increase the value. You can do this by putting things like time on there. How long does it take? What are the milestones involved? Is there a return policy? Look at all the things and actually ask your customers as well why they didn't buy it. If somebody doesn't buy your thing, immediately try and get them in and say, what is preventing you from buying this thing? I would like to know. You would be surprised at how small the little things are that prevent people from making that step. The third thing you can do is list it out. List out the features. So, list out all the features of your thing. What is involved in it, and break it down into a process that makes the sense to the person you're trying to sell it to. So if your thing, for instance, if you just say, hey, it's really high quality, okay, why is it high quality? If you say, hey, this thing is high quality because, and then you break down all the features, then you can expand and actually convey that to somebody in a way that makes sense. Let's say I was trying to sell you a pair of pants and I said, hey, the cloth is really high quality. Instead, I could say, hey, this has nanotech fibers in it, which means that it doesn't snag when you're doing rock climbing. It's rain resistant, so it doesn't get wet and bog you down. And it's also super easy to clean when you want to put it in the washer or dryer. Like, those are all things that are features that are involved that you think, okay, I spent an extra 50 bucks every time I make these pair of pants to pick this particular cloth, that probably they don't understand. Or you can also do the step-by-step process breakdown. If it's something that's long, this is really important if you have a service. When are you going to show up? What's going to happen? How long is it going to take? What happens afterwards? All of those should be somewhere outlined. If they don't understand how it works, if they don't understand what's involved, there's a very high likelihood that they won't even buy it outright. Now, to recap, trust, it comes from after the knowledge portion, but trust comes from actually demonstrating, from not just showing and not just trying to sell, but also getting them to understand, yes, other people have been through this. Here's an offer to reduce my risk. Here's what happens in the first step, second step, third step. These are 3 very easy ways to highlight this. Go to your competitor's website, go to whoever the top performing website is in your industry. You would be surprised at all the stuff that is listed on there. It might even be as basic as, when I go to your contact form, tell me how long it's going to take for you to get back to me, because I don't trust putting my random information into your contact form if I have no idea where it's going, what happens, and why I'm actually doing it. That is an example of one I see quite commonly. Build trust, build trust. And now we've gone from more people right in the middle to we've lost a couple of these people. They still don't really trust us. We're losing them, but now we're getting better, more qualified candidates who are going to buy our thing. The final step is usually the most difficult one, but let's face it, people not only buy from people they know and trust, but they buy from people they like. And a lot of the times, why should I like it or you if you are a solo entrepreneur? Well, think about the experiences that you go through right now with big brands. You might like your iPhone, you might like your car, you might like your, I don't know, your PlayStation. It doesn't matter, but there's some underlying reason that you like that brand. And the experience around it tends to be built upon this foundation. You didn't start by just randomly knowing that brand and instantly trusting them and instantly liking them. It might have taken years for you to actually vouch for that brand, so that when your mom comes to you and says, hey, what laptop should I buy? And you're screaming at the top of your lungs, you got to buy the new MacBook. You got to buy the new MacBook. It's so cool, because you started off with maybe the iPhone 2, and then you went all the way down over those years to finally being like, yeah, I'm an Apple fan person. Or maybe I'm a Dodge truck person, or this is the boat I like, or whatever. Why should I like it or trust you? Now, there's 3 ways that you can approach this. A, the experience. B, the long-term value. Or C, just the feeling alone. And you would be surprised at how often these are things that you see just in day-to-day life. If I know that I can buy a smartphone anywhere, but I can't get the same experience as I would at an Apple store with Apple Care and iCloud and the fancy walls and the Genius Bar, I would value that experience if I was an Apple fanboy or a fangirl. The value long term, when I buy the thing, or when I buy the first service, when I buy the product, what happens afterwards that continually nurtures that like? What is something that you're giving me over time to continually make it feel like I should keep coming back to you or recommend you to my friends? This one is really important, because a lot of the times business owners tend to do one thing and one thing only. They sell once. You want to get your customer buying an infinite amount of times, as much as possible. But if there's no value in being with you long term, there is no reason to. Yet a lot of big brands know that they do this, and this is how they capitalize on it. Take, for example, the local coffee shop. If you go down to one that's just one location, maybe 5 employees, Every single customer there is going to spend about maybe 1,000, at max 2,500 between the next 5 years of just going to that local coffee shop. Starbucks will actually make about 15,000 per customer. That's because they have extremely high long-term value. It starts with getting free Wi-Fi, to getting the croissant, to buying the little cake pop, to getting a cup of coffee, to getting some sort of weird coffee milkshake thing, to then downloading the app, which the app gives you rewards. Then you can get new merch like the cups, which then turns into you buying beans, which then turns into you going to private reserve, and so on until this process never ends. Until you finally, at the very end of it, become one of those people who's loading up Snapchat or going on Facebook, and you can't stop talking about the whatever new Frappa, Mocha, whatever thing that Starbucks has. That is why they have fans for life. What are you doing right now to build that? Do you have a community? Do you have long-term value? Are you solving more problems? Are you giving them more opportunities to enhance their brand allegiance with you? Are you giving anything after they bought the first thing for them to come back? That's what makes them feel special. Especially when you're a small business, you have that advantage. A lot of small business owners want to pretend they're big business owners, and a lot of big business owners want to pretend they're small business owners. But what's funny is nobody likes working with the big guys because the big guys treat you like you're nothing, but the little guys can treat you like you're something. And right now, if you actually focused instead on pretending to be a big business and started treating people like they were something, you would have an advantage over all the people in your marketplace. Finally, what's the feeling that invokes? A lot of this is really just the small things. After I sign up for your app, does confetti shoot on the screen? After I buy into your workout program, do I get a congratulatory? After I've reached a certain mark within this, do I get a mini trophy or a little placard that says I've passed the course? Look at Chick-fil-A. Very controversial business to some people, yet their hospitality is insanely, undeniably powerful. If you go to there, you'll notice that every single employee says the same thing, just like a hotel manager would. Have a great day. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here. It's that small difference that might prevent you from saying, you know what, instead of going to Burger King or Wendy's, I'm gonna go to Chick-fil-A today because I like the way they treat me there. What feeling do you invoke when you do that? It's all about making that person feel like they are special, they are unique, and that they are making a good decision. I don't know why a lot of business owners struggle with this too, because if you're really out to help people, which is the most important thing in your business, then the feeling should be something that you are creating as a result of that. Now, here's what you can do for your checklist. Write down all the steps and and I would say, you know what? Actually, there's a better way to say this. Just kill the waste. So going back to our trust exercise here, when we were talking about listing out the features, now if you can list out how those features connect, like let's say you have a box here, and this is step 1, which goes into another box, which goes into step 2, which goes into step 3, and so forth. What could you do to just axe out the time wasters, and what could you do to make the good ones, or at least the ones that need to be done, even better? If that means that, for instance, hey, you just signed up for my program and I'm going to send you a gift basket, you would be surprised at the impact this makes. I'll give you a real example of this, because one of them was Chewy, the company that makes dog food, or those little chewables as well, and they have a subscription where they send it to you every single month. Now the problem is eventually your dog passes away and it's very sad. They're like a member of the family and you're just distraught, but you get to this point where you're not thinking about canceling the subscription, but what happens is the dog food shows up at your door, and then you kind of have this moment, you get emotional, you freak out, you call them and say, hey, I want to cancel this. Not only what do they do is they go back and say, you know what, I'll credit you, I'll just refund you, keep the dog food, we can't take it back. And they send them flowers back. And those flowers might cost them like $10 for just sending those. It was like shipping and just getting those. But I guarantee you, you're never going to get a different dog food company again. Inevitably, you might get another dog, or you're going to recommend a dog food company to somebody. Guess which dog food company, just from the experience alone, tops the mark? chewy because they did that. So find what the time wasters are. What are you doing right now that your clients or customers just hate, and cut out the middleman? If that even involves just small things like, hey, is my checkout process have Apple Pay because I don't like to whip out my credit card when I get to the checkout? Hey, a lot of my customers sit in line forever. Can we add a mobile kiosk where they can order from their phone or a big tablet? Or hey, I really don't like when I have to do the weigh-in at my gym. What if I can make this fun, like more of an activity? Find a way to enhance that experience. They'll like you. Value. What are you doing after they buy the first thing? Long term, you should be providing and constantly dripping them value. When they solve one problem, that brings up 3 new problems. How are you getting those? Are you giving them more opportunity? Finally, start to talk about the feeling as well. And for your action list, we're not only going to kill the waste, we're going to do 2 other things. We're going to basically talk about what is the long-term value. I guess long-term problems they have is the best way to think about this. So you can do this very easily. Let's say they buy your big thing. And then what you want to do is list out the next problem that they have as a result of that thing, or the next thing that you could enhance. Keep doing this. So let's say this is just stage 1 in your weight loss program. Well, they've lost the weight and now they want to get 6-pack abs. And now that they've got 6-pack abs, they know how to keep those 6-pack abs off. And now that they know how to keep the weight off. And now that they know how to keep the weight off, what can they do to also maintain that when they go on vacation? And this just keeps going on and on and on until they say no. But if you don't have more opportunities to create long-term value, then they won't like you because you only did one thing. It doesn't matter how good the result is, eventually they're going to forget about you. So create long-term value. The next thing you can do is, how do I make this interesting or fun? How to make it fun, interesting, or even just easy. See, a lot of the times, it's really hard to support a small business. When I go to Jiffy Lube to get my oil change and it's 15 minutes in and out, I like that because I don't have to deal with going to another place, getting a quote, booking a time, doing all this other rigmarole. What can you do to make it fun, interesting, or easy, or even just faster? If you look at the process that you run through right now, what do your clients or customers just dread going through? If you can enhance that feeling by, again, making it fun, interesting, or easy, if you can take, a lot of the times, even certain things, and this is why big tech companies do this, they'll even make a game out of it. It's the reason that if I gave you a 400-page book on learning Spanish, you'd be like, oh, I have to read all of this and do the discipline and learn all these skills. But suddenly when the little Duolingo owl, which they just got rid of, a masterclass in marketing, shows up on your screen and says, hey, you haven't opened your app in like a month to learn Spanish. That makes me really sad. And then you open it up and confetti shoots on the screen. You get that little dopamine hit. How can you make that feeling even better? Now let's recap. How do I get somebody to like me? I can provide a better experience, I can provide longer term value so that it naturally happens over time, or I can change the feeling of the interaction. Focus on killing the waste, cut out the time wasters, cut out the things that just don't make sense, cut out the things that your clients dread. If you can't do that, then figure out how to make it fun, interesting, or easy. And then ultimately, what long-term problems are you solving? After you solve the first thing, what happens next? Now, that is the easiest way to solve a struggling business, is to get people to start knowing about you, to get starting on people who can trust you, and to get more people to like you. But if this is something that you are struggling with, what you can do is one of 2 things. In the description, there is a cheat sheet. So all you have to do is go down into the description and get your free cheat sheet. Or the other option is to claim your free call. Because if this is just something where you're like, I am overwhelmed with information, then all you have to do is click on the link in the comments or the bio, and I can actually show you how to do this specifically for your business with personalized walkthrough strategy, 30 minutes, step by step. You don't need any prior experience. And It's super easy because I've done it before. And you don't have to figure out how this applies to your business because I can tell you exactly how it works for your specific industry. But I do make videos like these once a week. I hope this was valuable. If it is, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, it means the world to me that if you are struggling as a business owner, if you're struggling as a solopreneur, a freelancer, whatever, go ahead and just comment below and let me know what's going on so I can also make content on that. Because I want to know what you guys need solved. I want to know what most importantly matters to you so that I can help you guys get to the part where you want to succeed and actually figure out the steps needed to get to there. But that's all I got for you today. Until then, I'll see you next time.